Hello beautiful people and welcome to my third library talk. Today's video is on the long and complicated history of the relationship between art and religion. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Hegel treats of art before religion. This order is fitting, even under a merely historical perspective. Now, as soon as man suspects that he has another side of himself, within himself, and that he is not enough in his mere natural state, then he is driven on to divide himself into that which he actually is and that which he should become. Just as the youth is the future of the boy, and the mature man the future of the innocent child, so that other sider is the future man who must be expected on the other side of this present reality. Upon the awakening of that suspicion, man strives after and longs for the second other man of the future, and will not rest until he sees himself before the shape of this man from the other side. This shape fluctuates back and forth within him for a long time. He feels it as a light in the innermost darkness of himself that would elevate itself, but as yet has no certain contour or fixed form. For a long time, along with other groping and dumb others in that darkness, the artistic genius seeks to express this presentiment. What no other succeeds in doing, he does. He presents the longing, the sought-after form, and in finding its shape so creates the ideal. For what is then the perfect man, man's proper character, from which all that is seen is but mere appearance, if it be not the ideal man, the human ideal? The artist alone has finally discovered the right word, the right picture, the right expression of that being which all seek. He presents that presentment. It is the ideal. Yes, that is it. That is the perfect shape, the appearance that we have longed for, the good news, the gospel, the one we sent forth so long ago with the question whose answer would satisfy the thirst of our spirit has returned. So hail the people that creation of genius and then fall down in adoration. For most of art's history, it has existed in an inseparable connection to religion. Art is the distillation of humanity into a physical, visual form. Religion is distinctly human, born of the innate human desire to achieve more, to reach some higher state. The beginnings of art, and especially the modern establishment of art, can be found in its ties to religion. It was the visualization of religious storytelling, a universal language through which religious belief could transcend language barriers and be spread to the entire globe. Now the whole earth had one language, and the same words. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and fire them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we shall be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which mortals had built. And the Lord said, "Look, they are one people, and they have one language, and that is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing that they propose to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the languages of the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. Artists in every sense imitate the divine. The ability to create is the ability of divinity, and yet artists have taken it. Art has a near mystical power to influence the thoughts and emotions of those who view it, regardless of the language that they speak. It is a unique tool to communicate stories and ideas to any and all who view it. The very existence of art seems to defy the Lord's will for humanity. And perhaps that is why art has become so closely linked to religion and ritual. The very practice of making religious art was, in a sense, the ultimate worship of the divine. The Sistine Chapel is a brilliant example of this. To many, the ceiling frescoes are the ultimate representation of religious iconography in art. And when we think about the creation process, the laborious task of painting the immense ceiling, all for the purpose of invoking the sense of the divine, we cannot help but conclude this act to be the greatest form of worship. As time went on, it seems art shifted to become a process of worship to an object of worship. Thus, along with a tradition in art, almost every religion also has a long history of iconoclasm, or the destruction of imagery bearing religious iconography. The goal of this was to prevent idol worship and ensure the object of worship remains the divine and not an artistic imitation. Islam in particular is notable for its strong tradition forbidding depictions of religious figures. The results of this iconoclasm was a cultural focus on words over images, especially in stronger cultures such as Islam, whose art shifted to focus on beautiful patterns and calligraphy. Even still, art remained the visual face of religion for centuries. The modern relationship between art and religion is complicated. To say that art has fully divorced itself from religion would be disingenuous. The truth is closer to the idea that as religion has become more diffused and less concentrated in modern culture, so too has religious art. Religious imagery is still extremely prevalent in contemporary art. In fact, it seems that religious art is wholly more common than art that holds anti-religious sentiments. However, this diffusion of religion within our culture has led to the rise of secular art, or art that exists without the consideration of organized religion entirely. Such art still often assumes a sense of spirituality, but this exists on a personal level within the artist and their work. Thus, the culture of art has shifted its center away from religion. When discussing the modern context of religious art, it is difficult not to discuss what is perhaps the most infamous piece of contemporary religious art, Immersion, Piss Christ, by artist Andres Serrano. The piece is a photograph depicting a small plastic crucifix submerged in a saturated golden-orange medium that is the artist's own urine. When the work first debuted, it saw great success. However, many were outraged, calling the piece blasphemy. The results of this controversy are Piss Christ becoming somewhat of a face for anti-religious art. However, according to the artist, there is nothing anti-religious about it at all. What it symbolizes is the way Christ died. The blood came out of him, but so did the piss and the shit. Maybe if Piss Christ upsets you, it's because it gives some sense of what the crucifixion was actually like. Others have likened the piece to the modern commercialization of Christianity, the cheapening of its sacred iconography. The modern state of religion is rife with politics and controversy, and art feels the backlash as a result. Art creates disunion in that it sets the ideal over and against the man. But this view, which has so long endured, is called religion, and it will only endure until a single demanding eye again draws that ideal within and devours it. Accordingly, because it is a viewpoint, it requires another, an object. Hence, man relates himself to the ideal cast forth by artistic creation, to his second, outwardly expressed ego as to an object. Here lie all the sufferings and struggles of the centuries, for it is fearful to be outside of oneself, having yourself as an object, without being able to unite with it, and as an object set over and against oneself, able to annihilate itself, and so oneself. The religious world lives in the joys and sorrows which it experiences from the object, and it lives in the separation of itself. Its spiritual being is not of reason, but rather of understanding. Religion is a thing of understanding. The object is so firm that no pious soul can fully win it over to itself, but must rather be cast down by it. So fragile is the spirit when set against the object of the understanding. Cold understanding, know ye not that cold understanding? Know ye not that nothing is so ardently hot, so heroically demanding as understanding? Sinceo Carthaginum esse delendum spoke the understanding of Cato, and he remained sane thereby. The earth moves about the sun, spoke the understanding to Galileo, even while the weak old man knelt adjourning the truth. And as he rose up again, he said, and yet it moves about the sun. No force is great enough to make us overthrow thought, that 2 times 2 is 4, and so the eternal word of understanding remains this. Here I stand, I can do naught else. The basis for such understanding is unshakable, for its object, 2 times 2 is 4, etc., does not allow itself to be shaken. Does religion have such understanding? Certainly, for it also has an unshakable object to which it is fortified. The artist has created it for you, and only the artist can regain it for you. As human culture moves into the future, the history of art and religion will forever remain relevant to us as artists. Thank you guys so much for joining me on my 3rd library talk. It's been a great to explore all these topics, and there'll be many more in the future. So yeah, maybe leave a like and subscribe if you want to see that more. All right. Love you guys. Bye.